Welcome everyone, I hope you're having a very wonderful day, and welcome to my guide for Rocky Mountain Elk for Silver Ridge Peaks. Before we begin, let me quickly break down how today's guide is going to work. So our first section is we're going to be covering all the Rocky Mountain Elk zones, and then we're going to be visiting 2 hotspots, and then we're going to move on to weapon recommendations, where I'll be recommending 5 of my favorite weapons to hunt these guys with. And then we're going to end today's video with the animal profile, which will have a custom map, time zones, and an ammo chart just to make your hunting life 10 times easier. So let's get right into it with our first location of the day. We're going to pull out our map here. We are in the top left-hand corner of the map in Settler's End in the Swiss Valley area. There's an outpost right here, and there's this lake. This is the first hotspot I highly recommend checking out. So we're going to pull our binoculars out and take a quick look at it. So we do have a nice looking level 4 there that I almost spooked, and there should be some more off over there to the right. And then we have a nice herd of them right there. And we should have another group of 3 off to the left of that. And then there should be one more group, but I did not see them, so they might or might not be there. But this lake houses about 4 zones for these Rocky Mountain Elk, which I highly recommend checking it out. I'm going to pull out our map really quick. Oh, that must be another single there. I'm going to pull out our map really quick, and I just want to gloss over a few things. So first things first is for the plains down here, there's only 2 lakes that these Rocky Mountain Elk like to reside at. It's the one right around this bend here on this road, and then down here where my tent is, if you guys can see my mouse. And pretty much those are the only 2 zones in there, and all the other zones are up in this northern section. Now I do want to point out 2 things about 2 lakes here. This one right here where my mouse is at, we're going to zoom in on it right there. This one does not house any Rocky Mountain Elk zone, so if you do see some there, please let me know down below in the comments so I can fix that on my map. And this one down here also does not have any Rocky Mountain Elk zones as well. So just keep that in mind when you're out there hunting. But all the other lakes around here house Rocky Mountain Elk. So we're going to go visit our second location of the day, which is actually to the right of this lake, which is right here. So I will see you guys there in just a moment. Alrighty, folks, we made it to our second zone of the day. I just want to point out quickly that we do have a butt ton of Rocky Mountain Elk right now fleeing, and you guys can probably assume why they're fleeing. It's those pesky mountain lions causing all these problems again. But we do have a nice group over here off on the right hand side that is running away. And pay no mind to the giant group of bears off to the far right. This is a pretty good Rocky Mountain Elk zone. We also do have some females off on the left hand side. We also had some males next to them, but they were right over there. But the mountain lion kind of spooked them. Hopefully these guys can come back. I don't know why they're all leaving me alone over here, but I only have maybe about 2 zones and a few singles that spawn here at this lake. Now I do want to mention that there is a third lake, which I will open up here on my map in just a second to show you guys, which is the third and final hotspot, which we'll be not visiting today because my zone is kind of dead. I kind of killed everything there. There's just a crap ton of singles, which it might be different for you guys' map, so let's check it out really quick. We're going to open our map up really quick, and we're going to go down right here where I have 2 purple zones. Now I do have a group of females off to the left here on this little purple patch, which does house every once in a while a single male or 2, and then on the right hand side we had a single level 4 male there. But I recommend checking this out. This is a pretty good third hotspot, at least for Rocky Mountain Elk, that you guys can check out. And that'll pretty much do it for all the hotspots. We're going to go over to the weapon locker, and we're going to go check out 5 of my recommendations for weapons for using on these guys. So I will see you guys there in just a moment. Alrighty, folks, so here we are back at the locker. Before we begin, I want to mention quickly 3 things. First things first is I'm only going to be covering rifles, handguns, and shotguns. I'll not be covering bows because I'm not a bow expert, and I'll leave it at the professionals. Secondly, these are just my personal recommendations and favorites. I always say go out there and explore and see what suits you and what you enjoy playing with. And then lastly, I'll be mentioning all the deals these weapons come from in case you want to pick them for yourself. So let's get right into it with our rifles. Our first rifle today is the 300 Mag Tactical. This is my personal favorite when it comes to taking out big game. It's got 5 rounds in it. It's semi-automatic. It's just a very wonderful platform to use. Highly recommend it, and you can pick it up in the high caliber weapon pack DLC. Moving on to our second rifle of the day, which we're going to scroll down here for just a moment. The Mauler 7mm Magnum is also a pretty good rifle to use on these guys. It's very solid as well. It's a high-powered round. You have 3 rounds in there. You can place some alright follow-up shots with this thing. Sometimes it's kind of finicky, but I highly recommend it. It's one of my top 3 favorite rifles in the game, and you can find it in the Hunter Power Pack DLC. Moving on to our third and final rifle of the day. Let's see where he is. Oh, there he is. The 338 right here is a very wonderful, this was what I used before the 300 came out. This was a very phenomenal rifle, and it still is. I just prefer the semi-auto 300 over this thing, but if you would prefer a bolt action, then I recommend picking this bad boy up, because I was just using it just a little while ago to use on these guys to see how it feels, and it's a very solid rifle. They'll run for a little bit. I'm using the soft points at least. If I was using the poly tip rounds, that probably would just insta drop them, but I only hit one lung, and they just take a few steps and then plop over, so it's very solid. I highly recommend it. You have 5 rounds in there, pretty decent follow-up shots, and you can find this in the Hunter Power Pack as well. Moving on to handguns, there's only going to be one handgun recommendation in today's video. The 4570 Jernberg Superior, aka the little hand cannon. This thing is a very phenomenal pistol. Yes, you only have 1 round in the tube, but it does the job pretty well with that 4570 round. Not only that, it's a lot better than all the other pistols in my opinion, because you could put a pretty good rifle scope on it, and it just slaps. It's very fun to use, and you can find it in the High Caliber Weapon Pack DLC as well. Moving on to our final weapon recommendation of the day, which is one of my favorite shotguns in the game, the Strandberg 10 gauge. It's a very phenomenal high-powered shotgun. You have 4 rounds in there, it's semi-auto, and it just annihilates these guys with those slugs. It's very fun to use, and you can also pick this up in the High Caliber Weapon Pack DLC. So pretty much if you want to hunt Rocky Mountain elk, I recommend just picking up the High Caliber Weapon Pack DLC. It covers pretty much 3 of the weapons in today's review, which is all the weapons in that DLC, and then the Hunter Power Pack is also a pretty good one as well. So, with that out of the way, folks, I will see you guys over at the animal profile section here in just a moment. And here we are, folks, at the animal profile at the end of today's video. Before I let you guys go and do a quick animal profile breakdown, starting on the left-hand side, we have all of our basic Rocky Mountain elk information covering class, difficulty, silver, gold, diamond threshold range. We have our weight from least to greatest from kilograms to pounds. We have our fur types covering common, rare, and very rare. Moving on to the center map, we pretty much covered all the animal locations in today's video in the first section. And then top right, we have all of our time zones organized. And then below that, we have our ammo chart, just to make your hunting life 10 times easier for those full integrity kills. That'll pretty much do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy and it does help you out, please leave a like. It really helps out the channel. And with that out of the way, folks, I hope you guys have a very wonderful day. Happy hunting, good luck, and I will see you guys in the next one.